Hi, welcome to PDQ Live. I'm Tara, and Josh is back.
I'm back.
Yay!
Is that a real yay, or are you just like, he's back?
No, it's a real yay.
Oh, thanks.
You're my fave. All right, we have so much to cover today. I would tell you what we're going to cover, but Josh moved away from the page, so I'm just going to guess.
Well, let's hear your guess. Let's hear your guess.
Yeah, let's hope.
And if you get it wrong, then I'll try and correct you, and then Drew will
Okay.
fix it for both of us.
I rolled my eyes. It was inadvertent, though. It has nothing to do with you. We're going to talk about what's happening in tech this week. I found some good ones.
Yep.
Then we're going to roll out some new features in Connect.
Something new.
Something
and
new.
we have a guest star.
And we have a guest
star, the creator of said new feature.
Yes.
Are they going to be in there?
No. We'll
coming out.
We'll bring out there.
They might come out.
I'll walk you out in a sec.
And then what we should have named the segment, we should have called it Intune with Intune. Oh, get Intune with Intune.
Yeah.
Oh, I messed it
Yeah.
up. Gosh.
Oof.
Tuning in
Oof.
to Intune.
Tuning in to Intune. We're going to talk about the basics of Intune.
The getting started. If
Getting
you will.
started. And it's not at all confusing. That's my spoiler alert for it. Ha, at all.
There's not like 300 ways to do the same thing.
No, exactly.
But it's fine.
No, you nailed it. That's it.
Is
That's
that
the
it?
show.
Whoa! That's kind
got
of a
it.
miracle.
The features are going to be awesome. There's some good stuff in here, and then the stories for what the tech are very entertaining.
Very entertaining. So let's begin with that. So I picked. Dang it! A stinger.
Well, you knew that one was coming.
I did know a stinger.
I knew that one was coming.
I know. Gosh, I got to work on the stingers. Drew is just shaking his head like that
Get it?
woman.
We'll get it.
He's like, I produced this show.
Did I say difficult earlier? I think I meant disappointing.
Drew says, I
Disappointing.
meticulously produced this show, and you mess it up every week.
Well, that's because we spend the dry run fighting.
She's not lying.
I'm not lying.
You don't
Okay.
fight.
Okay. This first one I picked specifically because this happened to me. This is a funny true story.
You can out yourself.
I'm going to out
Live.
myself. So I'm at home working on the millions of things for this week, and I keep getting ads as I'm watching stories. And I go to the Chrome extension store and try to download an ad blocker, and immediately see that it's malware. Immediately. And the first thing I think of is, oh my gosh, Josh is going to give me so much crap. He's never going to let me forget it. I better cover my tracks. I got to start hiding this thing and uninstall it, do whatever I can. Do I have any kind of malware on here? What can I do? That's all I think about, not telling you. And then the next morning I find this. So here you go.
To anyone watching, if you do that, you should not try and cover your tracks. It makes it worse.
No, I'm not going to tell you I did it unless we're live, and I'll tell you.
Max can get viruses.
Well, they ain't malware, but yeah, viruses too. But anyway, you didn't even know I got it unless
It is.
I told you.
So the cool thing about all these, like hundreds of them, other than being annoying with ads, they steal session cookies.
Yes. I
Right,
cleared my cookies though.
So that's the scary one, right? It's I take your login, you log into your bank, you proceed. But I am also duplicating those cookies, that session token, and I am also you somewhere else. So I think it's interesting that it took that hundreds of them were able to get into the Chrome Web Store.
Yeah.
I actually don't know what that process looks like to get an app or an extension into the Chrome Store.
I don't either. The way I knew it was malware is that it was named very weirdly. And if you would have seen it as well. And then it immediately changed my search engine.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was so mad.
I mean,
But yeah, hundreds.
Yeah, I just think it's wild to me that there's not some mechanism to filter these out or like a pass over them, or it takes, but you know, it's kind of the world we live in.
I was actually at home waiting for Ranch to call me. I was like in fear, waiting. But I cleaned it. I cleaned all my browsers just to be, I was scared.
Great.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I thought you'd like that.
All right.
That's the first one.
On to the next one.
Yeah.
This one is my favorite.
It's Andrew's birthday. PowerShell.
Yeah, it is. It is using some PowerShell, but it's a rat delivered via shortcut files, right? So it makes use of the Windows shortcut files to call mshta.exe, which is built into Windows, and that's what handles HTML apps, like local apps inside of Windows, right? So basically, what's been happening is this group comes out there and they through some lure or something get you to download a zip file. Of course, it's a zip file because why not? Inside of which is like a shortcut So you click the shortcut. Shortcut calls mshta.exe for proxy execution, downloads all of the binaries that it needs to. They're all PowerShell. And then, hey, look, now you've got a rat on your system.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought this was like really, really cool because it's like this PowerShell middleware
Mm-hmm.
that's called after, calling the HTML application file and reconstructs like shellcode to construct a rat on the fly. So you're building this thing like real time and not actually having to ship the rat, which is really interesting and it's really evasive.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really, really kind of a cool thing to do.
Do you know that I'm actually starting to learn what you're going to like? I probably read 30 and I'm like, he'll like this one.
It's a cool one.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cool one. Next up.
This is mine. This is mine. Okay. For all you oldies who actually just want ports, look how cheap this is. And it has really good reviews.
It's okay. It is $44.99.
Yes. Okay. And he rolled his eyes because it actually has VGA. And you're going to say, who needs VGA?
Who doesn't need Thunderbolt to VGA?
But listen, it's $44. How many times do you have people come in your office and go, I love my dog at home. Can I borrow one of yours? How many times? Would you just not want to have this in your bag? Yeah. Look how cheap it is. All the reviews are really good.
Yeah.
$44.
Yeah, it's great if you need to read a compact flashcard.
I know. That's why I like it, though. That's why I like it. Every port you could ever want. You're laughing because you're
I'm going to take my new 2025 MacBook Pro, plug this in and find that VGA monitor from.
My MacBook Pro doesn't have any of these ports. I always want a port. And I never have one. I want this. I'm serious.
Alexander found it for 30. You're getting ripped off here.
Okay.
You're getting ripped off.
I'm just saying, I always want one.
There you go. There's a good one.
But
all right.
there are 8 good reviews, Shelby. Sometimes I just got to entertain Josh. Okay, next up.
Massachusetts College student.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Pleads guilty to PowerShell data breach.
Okay,
I didn't know what
PowerShell
PowerShell was.
Okay, PowerShell is a student information system used by literally millions of students. So I used PowerShell when I was in my Mac environment. And I like this story because this was a 19-year-old former student, and all he did was wait for an unattended workstation, and then he stole credentials from an administrator.
It's always the most like basic thing.
It is.
You can have the
Really
greatest
easy.
security in the world, all of the software, all of the everything, but you just leave a workstation unlocked.
Yes, exactly.
There's
Left it
your
unlocked, and then he was able to escalate. And you know what? I can't remember. I read it yesterday, and I'm old, so I already forgot. But I can't remember if he escalated to get the administrator credentials or the credentials that he stole were administrator. But what he did is he set a ransom for $2.5 million. It was like 60 million students used that. Anyway, 19 years old.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Multiple districts.
He wants like a Bitcoin ransom, fails, gets busted because he doesn't do it right.
Exactly.
And yeah.
19 though, so that's why this one.
Okay, so this is big. Delta. So a federal court judge says that Delta can sue CrowdStrike over the outage.
Yes.
So this is big. Like this sets precedent for a lot of different things, right?
Mm-hmm.
That it's like, oh, well, you can sue for this service, but they do have to prove gross negligence.
I think they're going to win though, because they were the hardest hit by CrowdStrike. So,
yeah, they were also the hardest hit by CrowdStrike because they didn't have redundancies. They didn't have a good incident response plan. Like this isn't just a CrowdStrike issue with Delta. This is a Delta problem too.
So you think they won't be able to?
I don't think that they're going to be able to prove gross negligence. But I do think it's interesting that now the precedent is set that customers can sue service providers for their outage because they don't have.
Yeah.
Like I understand suing for gross negligence. Like if they actually did something that was just like willfully ignorant.
Yeah.
Or willfully like malicious. Yeah, get them.
Yeah.
But this was a mistake.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
I think they better call Saul.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. What's next? One more. Okay. This is our last one.
All right. Here's another one. Okay. Hazy Hawk. It's a cybercrime gang. They're doing something that's not necessarily new, but they're back at it again. they're hijacking CNAMEs, right?
And we talked about this before, but it's happening again.
So here's what happens. You go set up an app service in Azure or, a function app in AWS. You create a CNAME for my company app at mycompany.com, and it points to the generated domain from one of those things. And then you're like, that didn't work out, and you delete the app. But you don't delete the CNAME.
Yeah. It's abandoned.
It's abandoned. So what these places do is they go and they hit the stuff, and they look and they look and they look, and they try and get the same generated name or a similar generated name. And then guess what? Now your CNAME for your trusted site goes to their app and can do what they want. And it's a big deal because this is hitting. Yeah, these are the domains that are citing here: cdc.gov, ca.gov, nyu.edu. It's a reminder. Go look at your DNS zone. You got a mess there.
Clean it up.
Clean it up.
Yeah. Okay, that's all for what the tech.
What the tech.
What the tech.
Alrighty. Next up, we've got a special guest.
Yay!
The special guest is actually the engineer that built this shiny new thing that we're here to show off.
So, Josh, I think we actually have two things to talk about because I think light mode is previewing, isn't it?
Yeah, you want to flashbang everybody?
Yeah, let's do. If you like light mode.
You ready? Are you ready for this?
Ready? Woo! So.
And this is live now. This is in.
Yeah, there it is.
Wow.
Yeah. So look, so you can be like a normal human, or you can blind yourself.
Yeah.
Why? I prefer sysadmin and management.
Yeah.
Sysadmin management.
I love that.
That's true, Tails.
Rude.
But Josh is a manager. How dare you? Just kidding.
Jeez Louise. All right, so that's the first shiny new thing, and by shiny I might say bright. But the next shiny new thing, Tails, what's coming out? What's an alpha?
What's an alpha? Lots of things are an alpha, but my thing that's an alpha is the multi-tenancy feature. So this is a feature we built because it turns out it's really annoying to have many accounts at once. So now you can have many accounts in one account. We've double stuffed your accounts. More or less.
I like the Oreo reference.
Yeah.
I like the Oreo reference. Okay, so this is an alpha. How do people get if they want to try this out?
That's a great question. So you can ask in the Discord, or you can email support. You can email sales, and they will just fill it out and give you the alpha. Really easy. We want to be really accessible with this alpha. So there are this is the alpha. This is not even beta. So it's somewhat limited. There's not a lot of features you can have sharing between your parents and your tenants, but you can make different tenants and switch to them. So you can group all your accounts together today.
Okay.
So there's still features, but we're actively developing it right now, which is good because if you join the alpha, you can tell us what you want.
That's
there you go.
Very, very true.
So everybody go join right now.
Okay,
Help
here's
us out.
what it looks like. All right, from settings, tenants. We haven't created a tenant yet, but we can. And there's some docs here if you want to read them. Here's some use cases for this. Maybe you're in single organization, but you want to separate workstations from servers. You want to separate logical departments from one another for separation of controls. Maybe sysadmin A works on one half, and sysadmin B works on the other half.
I want to separate Brock's machines because his naming conventions don't match mine, and it bugs me.
Well, it sounds like we're going to separate Brock's machines out.
Yes.
So here's the thing. Parents can share to children.
Yeah.
Children cannot give stuff back.
Right.
So as you're playing around with this thing, kind of thinking about it, as you start to fork stuff off, the parent is the one that can go down, but things don't come back.
Yeah. We don't have a lot of sharing today of packages or roles or anything, but that's upcoming. And the plan is for that to share down from the parent to the tenant, right? So we don't want it to be annoying when you make a new tenant and you have to go and copy pasta all your packages or your PowerShell scripts. No.
Yeah.
So
cool. This is a very shiny new thing, and we're very excited for it. Thank you so much, Tails.
Yeah. Wait, you're not going to make a tenant?
Let's make a tenant, Josh. I don't want to see Brock's stuff. Let's move it.
Oh, wait, if we make a tenant, we can demo my favorite feature.
Tails,
actually.
you want to make it? You can do it.
Here. All right. Yeah, I understand. Continue. I read all that. We are a internal IT.
Are we? Can we be trusted?
Tenant name, Brock's Stuff.
Make sure you pick a nice icon.
Oh, yeah, I want to go.
Very important.
I'm going to get stuck here for a while.
Yeah, let's see. What represents Brock?
That one.
The high kick.
The high kick?
Oh, okay.
Where's the high kick?
There was a kick.
This
I
one?
saw. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brock's stuff that doesn't fit.
Match.
Okay,
Doesn't
before you
match
click
my
create,
name.
Yep.
copy that URL.
Copy the
Which
URL.
URL?
Where's the URL?
This
That one. Yep.
This?
Oh,
Yeah.
Why do we do that?
Okay, now click create.
Okay.
Boom. Now you're in the tenant, right? So now we're logically distinct. We've set up this new account. Now, Josh, open up another tab.
Okay.
Paste your URL. You can be in your parent and your tenants at the same time. Multiple tab access.
Oh.
That's fancy.
Also, I fixed
Okay.
slug navigation. So like you can just navigate to any account you're a part of by changing the slug, which is like so slick.
So here, so the slug is Brock stuff, and we can go back to our other one, which is just Banff.
I think it's called Brooks stuff now, but that's okay. Am I misreading it? Am I
no,
blind?
he wrote Brooks. Brooks stuff.
Nope. I just
You know what?
auto-completed. My brain just
Okay.
auto-completed Brooke.
It's all right. It's Brooks now.
All right, it's Brooke.
Anyway, tenants coming up. Please join our alpha.
Thanks, Tails.
Ah, thanks, Tails. I love it. I decided I want the high kick on mine though, but we'll fix it later. It's okay.
We can delete it and start over.
Yeah, we'll start over.
Okay.
Wow. Let me not get stuck.
Alrighty. So we've done what the
Okay.
tech.
Yep.
We've showed off some shiny new things. I think we get to wrap with a domain of our own. All right. So you're gonna have to remind me because I forgot.
Well, yeah, there's some story time.
I
here.
forgot.
So
It's been 2 weeks. I'm sorry.
here's what happened. I'm going to tell this story because I think you guys are going to resonate with it. It's hilarious, actually. So I don't know, maybe sometime Tuesday. Josh was off last week, and he was super busy this week because he's important. I realized, hey, we're making this brand new domain. We started this new tenant, and to demo Intune, that costs money because it's Microsoft, right?
Uh-huh.
And I needed to buy an Azure license, and then on top of that, a mobility license because that makes sense.
Okay,
I was
so
like,
Intune, let's break that apart. Okay, so
Okay.
Intune, to do what we want to do, to manage devices,
Mhm.
you either need an E3 plus mobility
Uh-huh.
or an E5 license.
Yeah. I mean, there's probably some other variation. but
Yeah,
that-
you could, but talk to your Microsoft rep. That's
Yeah.
like the big broad brushstroke
Yeah.
gist.
And we just had a basic, right? And we were trialing it.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at it and I'm like, well, why don't we just use the tenant we already had? And then I finally found you and you're like, that's a dumb tenant. And I'm like, no, Josh, because you weren't involved in that tenant.
No,
But, so you didn't know what I was
my
talking
thought
about.
was like, I know that this is everyone's playground, so it's probably a mess.
But you didn't know about the other tenant that I had.
No.
So I sat there all day Tuesday. I'm like, what? And then I just ignored Josh, which I never do, but because he didn't know about this one. So then I said, I'm going to disassociate the domain that we just made, and I'm going to move it over. First, I was going to move the whole tenant over because Microsoft supports multi-tenancy. I'm like, why am I going to do that? There's nothing in it. No.
Yeah.
So then I detached it, and then it said, you're attached to the Terra's user. I'm like, no, you're not. So then I dug through Exchange Administrative Center for like an hour, and it was not attached to anything. I'd already moved it. So frustrating. There was definitely some yelling at the computer where I'm like, you're not attached to me. Just shut up. You know what I did? I created a dummy user for you. And then it was like, all right, now we'll release it. I was so mad. You know those moments where you're just like, you're not making any sense, Microsoft? Anyway, so then I removed prettydamnquick.dev, and that's when I came downstairs. And it just said, removing for an hour. And
Yeah.
that's when I finally found Josh. And I'm like, what was it doing? He's
It
like,
takes a minute.
I don't know. Anyway, so I reattached it to this tenant that we have that also has nerd.blah.
Okay.
That you don't know about. It's a pretty empty one. But anyway,
Okay.
so we're going to talk about Intune. So Josh just described the licensing that we need for Intune. And then we're going to talk about just some basics. But before we talk about how it works, I found some pictures that make it really clear. So Drew's going to show them. And when I say really clear, what I mean is not at all clear. Because it's kind of confusing. This is my favorite picture. We talked about where we want to go with our domain, and I think most of you have told us that you're still hybrid. So the first thing I want to ask is, why are you still hybrid? What reason do you have for being hybrid? Is it on-prem resources that you still need, like printers, file servers? What is the reason behind that? That's what we want to find out so we can address that.
Yeah.
Because it's by far the hardest way to go. Because you can be hybrid, well, on-prem, hybrid. You can be Azure registered, and then you can be Azure aware.
Yep. There's like a 15 different scenarios you can get yourself into.
Exactly.
So
Azure curious.
Azure curious, right? That's Drew just said Azure curious, and it sounds funny, but you kind of can. There's a lot of different ways that you can enroll devices, and you can set it up, and so all of these things matter. And Shelby, you're totally right. Look at this picture; it's ridiculous, right?
yeah,
it's a big beast. I think that they're trying to replicate SCCM. To be honest with you,
that's exactly what it is.
It just gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
I think you called it yesterday. You're like, Intune's like group policy in the sky.
It is.
Intune is going to be config man in the sky.
Yeah, the config policies and the compliance policies are group policy in the sky. But one of these scenarios, by the way, allows you to use compliance policies, which are the more security-based ones, and group policy to manage your devices. Who would do that to themselves? That's so confusing to me.
So thing to keep in mind when you're hybrid, right? If you're hybrid, you've got on-prem Active Directory, and you're synchronizing it with
certain OUs,
or the entire force, whatever.
Yeah.
With Entra ID and Intune. So in some cases, most cases, then you can have conflict. You can have policy conflict.
Yes.
Just like you can have group policy conflicts where group policy A turns something on and group policy B turns it off. You have a conflict.
Yes.
Now you can have not only that conflict, but the conflict of group policy turning something on, Intune turning something off.
Yeah.
And it's who wins when.
Exactly. And that's why the suggestion is only use config policies with group policy. Never use configuration policies and group policy, because just what you said will happen. They will fight it out.
Yeah.
So not a good scenario. So this was the most confusing, but the mobility license, and Josh was holding his laptop yesterday. He's like, mobility, because I can take my laptop around. But I think it actually means mobile device, the MDM.
It does.
It can manage mobile devices. They can manage laptops, of course, desktops. It can do multiple OSs. But could this be any more confusing to anyone, really?
Generally, I think the way to think about it, if you're just coming into Intune, like if you're brand new to this thing, first off, figure out your licensing.
Yes.
Because like it's kind of hard. Second, you got to figure out, how do I get devices into Intune?
Yeah.
Right. I think there's 3 major ways.
I'll show you. Yeah.
Okay. You want to show me?
Yeah.
Okay. Show us the 3 ways to get a device into Intune.
So the first thing I do is I go to portal.azure.com.
Okay.
Bookmark that, because if you're just kind of learning 365 or Azure or Intune. So Azure used to be the identity provider, and then it became rebranded as Entra because Azure decided to be platform as a service, infrastructure as a service. And then
because Google kills things, Microsoft renames them.
Exactly. So Entra is now the identity center. So just in your mind, say that's Active Directory.
Yeah.
It's just easier to remember it.
Sure.
So then you're going to go to Intune, but from portal.azure.com or portal.intune.com, you can navigate here. Okay. So you're going to want to go to devices first.
Okay.
I know it doesn't make any sense, but just trust me. Click on devices. And then from devices, you're going to see all your devices right here. Okay. When you drill down, it's going to break it out by OS and then type.
Yep.
So you'll see right here, if I click in Windows, I have 3 devices that I've added this week. Okay. And then over here, it'll tell you when did they check in. I'm only going to show you this for a second, and then I'll answer your question.
Okay.
When you dive into them, it can tell you who enrolled them, what they are, and I can get all the information, right? And then based on how I enrolled them, it will tell you what I can do to them. So here I can restart it, I can retire it, I can wipe it. But over here is device compliance, device configuration. So I'm going to take you back for just a second.
Okay.
I can do various things to these based on this right here, enrollment type. So if I'm licensed properly, my account is licensed with an E3 with mobility, right? Okay. So I can go to these devices on the floor, account. My user account, exactly. Yeah. These are licensed by the user, which makes it even more confusing. I can go to these laptops right here, and the hardest way to do it is to go to the start menu, right-click settings, and go accounts, work or school. And there's 2 ways. I can sign into work or school account, and now I'm registered. So as Drew said, I'm Azure curious. Yeah. I can register it, and it will give me the option to say, do you want to allow the company to manage it? Okay. Now I'm partly Azure registered,
Yeah.
but I'm not fully supervised.
Another kind of sneaky place that this happens, if you've ever installed Office, like you know how each user gets 5 installs of Office, you can use them wherever.
Yep.
You install it on your home computer, and you go to sign in there, and it says, "Hey, do you want your company to see this?"
Access it, yes.
That's one of those. It'll
That's
register.
one of those two.
So if
Yep.
you're ever an Intune, you're like, "How is everybody's everything getting in here?"
Yes.
That's how.
That's how. And then it becomes extra confusing because you can also be in Azure or Entra and Intune, and those numbers will be disparate. And that's super annoying to me. My brain can't handle that. I need my numbers to be exactly the same. So the better way to do it is to set up enrollment policies and have it be automatic. So it's per user.
Yeah.
But then you have to trust your user. So that's kind of confusing too. So for my brain, I don't like that. I need it to be the same.
Yeah.
But if you just want to know where every device is, it's a great way to go too, to allow the user every time they log in, it'll pop up because you can kick it out. You saw
Sure.
that I could just
Yeah,
delete
you can
it
go
right there.
delete it. Yeah.
But okay, those are the enrollment ways. I know it's not clear and I know it's not easy. I get that. It's really confusing.
Yeah.
I get it. But let me show you what we did last week because I wanted to replicate that group policy that we made on-prem. So here's how you would do that. I'm going to come back down to, we're still under devices, right?
Yep.
This doesn't make a lot of sense to me, so I'm just going to explain it because it is confusing. But if I come under devices and I hit configuration, remember how I told you the configuration is group policy in the sky?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's click here. And I made some. So I called this one EDR. Guess what it is?
Like rave music?
It's rave music. We're going to have a dance party. This is security one, but we're going to start with a password policy. Okay. If I was going to make one, I would just hit create right here.
Sure.
But we're just going to look at the one I already made for you. Okay. So if we click in here, password policy, and look, it looks really like, is there something here? What is it? It's kind of dumb. If I scroll down though, and I click on the basics, edit it, it's actually just going to show me this. So I'm going to keep going.
Yep.
I scoped this to all users. So a little different than group policy, but I can see everything I've done right here.
Similar, right?
Similar.
Like you got to define the thing,
You do.
associate it with a group or subset of groups.
Yep.
Okay.
Then I have to go all the way down, and I find this really stupid. But if I really want to see the meat of this, it's right here.
Okay.
It's in configuration. So, and I don't really know why it does this, but you just have to expand it. So when I first started doing this, I'm like, where is it? Show me it. Unlock it right there. Expand it, not unlock it. And then it'll tell you what it is. So I just replicated the exact settings that we had in our group policy, and I made it this exact same thing. No, you can't have a simple password. 0. I'll remember 8 passwords after 5 times, and then 30 minutes, I'm going to lock you out. I want it to be 15, and then I'm going to hit review and save.
Yep.
So it's exactly the same thing. It just looks a little bit different. Make sense?
Yep.
In a scope to all users.
Yep.
And then let's go back again. So I don't love this because it's a little janky, but just go back to devices, just follow the trail. And then up here, let's click on this one. This is a security one. So again, kind of weird, but just scroll down. And just like everything else, actually, I don't want to do that one. I made a special one for you, but I got to find it. I made you a conditional access. So we talked about this. Conditional access is more if this, then that.
Yeah. So this is where we
Policy.
differ. This is where we start to differ from your
Yes.
traditional group policy.
Yes.
Configurations, like group policy.
Exactly.
I won't call it group policy because it's not.
Right.
But conditional access is meet this criteria to get access to resources, to get access to app, to do the next step.
Yep. Actually, I don't think I called it that. I got to find it because I love the groups that I made for you.
There is a
because they're
question in
amazing.
here though.
Oh, what is it?
So there's a question from MVG about being, why be non-hybrid and move strictly to cloud?
Why?
That's a great question. If you're looking at it from a pricing only perspective, is cloud going to be expensive? I don't know. Maybe, right? If you've got to license all of your users with user and or device cals in your traditional Active Directory, what does that cost you? What does it cost you to, run your virtualization stack? The total cost of ownership for all of that hardware depreciated over X amount of time. Like, it's such a broad question. It's hard to kind of nail down and say, yeah, it's going to be more expensive, or no, it's going to be cheaper. There's a little bit of sunk cost fallacy that gets involved as well, right? I've got this big stack of hardware that I'm running here. I'm going to keep running it because it cost me X amount of dollars this many years ago. I would kind of maybe challenge the assumption of if you had the opportunity to start over from scratch right now,
Yeah.
what would you do?
Well, yeah.
Would you go buy storage, servers, networking, install Windows servers? Would you do that whole thing, or would you do here?
I think if I was starting over, I would absolutely do this. I would.
This is the boat that I would be into. If I was not now, who has the luxury of starting over? Very, very few people.
It's true. It's absolutely true. This is one I wanted to find because I made it just for you. So look at the name of it.
Oh, do what I say or else.
Yes. So, and remember, just like group policy, you have to make a group of users and/or devices that you're going to scope to it, right?
Yeah.
So this one is start to you, and I attached it to your enemy list. The group is called Josh's Enemies, but it has to meet these specific requirements. So I see that it's yelling at me for something, but this one is more conditional.
Okay.
Let's look
Man
at the
policy
conditions.
can't be on client for browser.
Yeah.
You-
This one
you can't mix and match.
Yeah, you can't mix and match. So it's mad right now. But again, sorry, I got a window.
Yeah, no, but I do love that it's do what I say or else. So what does it do? You're giving access to who for what, to do what?
Yes. I basically said you can't look at your browser can't be out of compliance. Your computer has to meet this OS requirement. So this one was really just a joke to make you laugh. But I set it to report only, so it's not taking effect right now. So it's not really doing.
Yeah, that is actually a thing to kind of to show here is also unlike group policy, you get a report only.
Yeah.
In stuff here where group policy you link it, it's gonna do the thing.
Yeah.
Here you can link it and set it to report only instead of go actually make the change.
Yeah, and it was Brig and Andrew were your enemy list.
Oh, Brig's not mine.
Well, it's for fun. But yeah, it's
Alrighty.
not doing anything.
Okay.
It's just reporting only. So
I think this is a pretty good primer for Intune. Like if you haven't used it, there's some cool stuff to do in here. There's some really the hurdles are getting the first hurdles are getting licensed appropriately and getting devices in. Those are your first hurdles. Once you're in, you can start to do some cool stuff and you can start to tie together identity with devices, which I think is the biggest draw here.
yeah, and I think it's getting, I think they touched on it in the chat. It's getting the enrollment set up in the way that you want it. Because I'm one of those people, I don't want a bunch of BS in my environment that I don't want in there. I hate that.
Yeah.
So, and even these laptops on the floor, you can't see, but we have laptops on the floor because I was working on them. The OS really dictates the way that you can enroll the devices. Yeah. Your options are different. So that makes me crazy.
Yeah,
I hate
it's
that
built into
crap.
Windows. Like the newer versions of Windows are going to be better.
Yeah, because it's very clear. Would you like to join this to Azure? So it's more.
It's
clear
starting to
in
go that
11.
direction.
Yeah. But that's the part.
For Apple friends, like I see this going the way of Apple Business Manager.
It is.
And Mac. Like
it's just like
that's
that.
what's going to happen.
It's just like that, and we could actually show that if we wanted to, but it's easier that way.
Okay.
So.
Cool. Thanks, Tara.
You're welcome.
That's cool. Alrighty. And thanks everybody for joining us today. Hope if you've never seen Intune before, hope you got to see this. Thanks for checking out the new feature, and please go give it a try. You know, so excited. Tails was down here. We got Tails on camera.
Thanks, Tails.
That's wild. So.
And we have shirts to give away.
Oh yeah, Andrew, shirts. Who gets your shirts? What are we doing?
Great question. Who are we doing? You know, I've scoured the chat.
Did you guys catch that panic? I gotta find this mute button.
Yeah.
He wasn't listening to us.
No, I was totally listening. Of course I'm listening. So I selected two of our finest who also happen to wear the same shirt size that we have shirts for, and that is the Myers 4.
Congrats.
Congratulations.
Oh,
Mark.
congrats!
And none other than Barry Page.
Barry Page.
Congratulations. Plah, plah, plah. Nerd, nerd, nerd.
So what do they need to do, Andrew? They need to send me
email
their
like this.
info. I need
That's right.
your address. I already have your shirt size. You're going to get what you get at this point. Send it to webcast@pdq.com. There you go.
Alrighty. That was fun. Thanks everybody.
For BDQ, I'm Tara.
Oh, I'm Josh.
You're Josh.
You're Josh.
And we'll have this sing us out. It is Andrew Plow's birthday. We wish him a happy birthday. It is also our founder, Sean and Shane, their birthday today. Thanks for joining us. Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Leave us your comments and join us on Discord. Have a great week. We'll see you back here next time.
My friend, from the start to every end, waiting for